Is boxing fans getting too toxic? If you really think about it, boxing right now is in the best place it's been in a long time. Like, there's a ton of boxing news coming out left and right. The PBC, like, changed the game and made a big push to make boxing more relevant, and they succeeded. And by them succeeding, we eventually had HBO kind of bow out the game. We have ESPN making a push to reassert themselves, and we have this app with Eddie Hearn and them, the Zone app, that's trying to get it out in another model. And between those three, the new big three, we have more boxing and more news about boxing than ever before. It's becoming easier and easier to follow the sport and keep up with the various stars around the globe. So why am I starting to think that the fans, which I'm a part of the fan base too, but why do I think that the fans are starting to get a little too toxic? Well, it's coming down to really two main things I'm kind of noticing. On one side, it's this concept of people ducking each other. And on another side, it seems to be this pseudo brand loyalty. Like, it's something that I see a lot in pro wrestling. Is if you're a pro wrestling fan, then you hear this concept of internet fans, like called the IWC, and that could be any fan that kind of follows the pro wrestling online. But when I say IWC, I'm talking about the more negative section of the fans that kind of constantly complain about everything. And I told a friend about this a while back. I said every popular thing has its own IWC, kind of in quotation marks. And that's like a fan base that just it constantly complains. And boxing is starting to become a bit more prevalent, especially lately. Let's take, for example, Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder. These two guys, it's the fight that everybody who likes boxing want to see. Like, that's two heavyweights about to go at it at some point. And yet the fans are, they're getting so caught up in the politics of making the fight that they're starting to really legitimately feel like one guy's afraid of the other guy. And it's just weird. Like, to me, on a world level, like the world boxing level, which is where, the fanship is, on that elite level, I don't think a boxer is scared of another boxer, especially in the heavyweight division. I remember, boxers are gladiators. You know what I'm saying? They fight for our entertainment. And so my loyalty is to those said boxers. I don't, as much as I would like Al Heyman to succeed as a fellow black man, the competition is good, having PBC and the Zone and ESPN. The competition's good. Like, I don't think Terrence Crawford would have just broken a record. Well, not broke a record, but had such high numbers if PBC didn't exist. He'd have still been fighting on HBO and, kind of floundering around a bit. I think by the PBC making such a big push, it forced other people to step their game up. And as such, me as a boxing fan got to benefit from it. But it seems like other people don't get that. They're rooting for Al Heyman to fail or Eddie Hearn to fail or ESPN to fail. It's weird. Like, have loyalty to the guys who are actually fighting. Like, our job as fans is to want, there's nothing wrong with wanting to see the best fight the best. I'm cool with that. And we do know that there are politics in boxing, and there are reasons why it's hard for certain fights to be made. Doesn't mean it's impossible. It doesn't mean we shouldn't push for those fights to be made. But don't let your loyalty to a promoter or owner or whatever, overshadow your fandom. And don't get so delusional that you think that elite world class boxers are afraid of each other. Like, yeah, I think Deontay Wilder, well, I think that's a 50-50 fight with him and AJ. But I don't think one guy is scared of another. And now that we have Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford, like, it's like the fan bases are really starting to go hard at each other, which is cool if it was just on the, I think this guy is going to win, whenever they do finally fight. But it's getting to the point where, y'all trying to convince yourselves that one guy is scared of the other guy. And, some of the boxers, they're a little, they're going to look at the comments sometimes, you know what I'm saying? It kind of hurts their feelings and yada, yada, yada. But we're starting to miss the goal here. And like I say, I've seen it in boxing. I've seen it in wrestling and politics. It could end up messing up your enjoyment of the sport if you get blinded by politics and the guys who kind of own or promote or yada yada, stuff like that. Like, yeah, I'm not saying, oh, I'm trying to protect the promoters. All I'm saying is you don't need to care about the promoters. Just care about the fighters. Like, enjoy this time and, break down the fights. Like, why you think Terrence Crawford would beat Spence? Not this crazy idea that, oh, Crawford didn't call him out after a fight. Like, they call each other out on social media. Maybe there's a clear reason. Maybe their promoters asked them not to say it on the mic. Like, I genuinely can't wrap my head around the idea that Terrence Crawford or Errol Spence is afraid of each other. Like, I can't get there. And I don't think the same thing about Wilder and Joshua. It's like it's the promoters' jobs to try to make the most money possible. It's the boxer's job to try to make the most money possible and, of course, fight for championships and the best fight the best. We as fans, we should enjoy the fights, want the best to fight the best. And, if we can have heated debates on who's better or why we think so-and-so will win, that's more relevant. Not this whole business model being happy if a fight don't do certain numbers, yada, yada, yada. It's like, nah. I want it to be where it's just like when the WWF and WCW was at their peak of going at it. And, they kept trying to up the ante to beat one another. That's going to lead to exciting fights and new technologies. That's exactly what's happening right now. The zone with the technology and these various fighters, they're trying to find ways to come at boxing. It's proof that boxing is alive and well and it's not going anywhere. But I want you guys to enjoy it just as much as me. Stop worrying about irrelevant stuff. Enjoy the actual fights. But anyways, that was my little rant. I'm seeing too much chaos with this whole thing. Boxing fans, get your heads together. It's about the fighters. It's about the fights. Don't worry so much about the politics. Just keep asking for the fights that you want. Demand the fights that you want. Don't put your loyalty strictly to, business owners. Like, nah. At the very least, don't find yourself disrespecting the guys who fight for your entertainment. That's probably at the heart of it. If you think if you're gonna call somebody a coward or like I say, if you're gonna call somebody a coward, then yeah, that's what I want you to fix the most. One, don't worry about loyalty to the owners. They're gonna be fine. Al Heyman, if PBC failed today, Al Heyman would, still be rich. He got money from a lot of things. Same with Eddie Hearns. Same with Bob Arum. The rich guys are fine. You know what I'm saying? Don't worry about them. We want the fighters to get paid. We want boxing to be easily accessible. And that's why we should be a little more happy right now. Focus on the fighters, guys. Until next time. Peace.